Hello, beautiful relatives. Thank you for waking up this morning. Happy new moon. Happy day. I come to share a message about transmutation of trauma within interpersonal relationships. Oftentimes, things are expressed in our interpersonal relationships that we can sometimes feel shy to embrace. And I just pray that we can all continuously expand and open our hearts, because that is the true test of this life, to expand and keep our hearts open no matter what we go through, regardless of the circumstances that arise. And so when we get into a commitment with someone, whether we get into a commitment with another person, even a commitment of walking the red road, right, of ceremony for 4 years, or even the commitment of just doing internal work, the commitment of school, the commitment of anything, things are always brought up to surface. Things are always brought up to surface for us to heal with, and us to remember our own sovereignty, and for us to remember our worth in every situation, and remember that our cup is full with the abundance of the earth's glory all around us. And we just have to allow it to come fill us. And when we give in our interpersonal relationships from this place of our cup being full eternally, then the expectations, the potential expectations that come with giving will be diminished, will be transmuted, will be annihilated. Because giving from a space of abundance is effortless, easy, and fluid if we allow it to be. Our worth, oftentimes in our conditioned society, is based on what we give to other people. Literally, all our jobs we are giving to other people, and it is a beautiful thing in that way. It is a beautiful thing, but may we understand our worth is not based on what we give to other people. And may we understand that sometimes the subconscious mind, the subconscious trauma that's lingering in the bones of our memories, can come to play when we give to other people. And we don't recognize this being at play maybe until we are left with nothing from these people that we give to. And in that case, receiving nothing from that person is a gift, because then we can remember the worth within the present moment, the worth within our existence alone. Because our existence alone, our presence alone, is a gift. We don't even have to say a word. We don't even have to say a word or do anything to be recognized as a gift. For that presence, the etheric presence, the communication within the unseen is already a gift in itself. And so we can light up a room in every scenario that we please if we have this mentality of being full and allowing ourselves to be full. Because oftentimes it's very scary being intimate. It's very scary being open with other people. But if we live every day like we've already died, because let's be honest, this isn't our first time in this playground. This is not our first time being on earth. So if we live like we already died, then attachment is let go easily. Detachment comes in really easily, and the fluidity within that, the water within that, and true love is the foundation of freedom. The reason why perhaps the push and pull in relationships happens is because maybe we are trying to create ownership over something that is temporary, that can never be taken as our own, because we are sovereign and we have a sovereign journey, and we have many people, many things to relate with. So to let go of the bondage in that way, we can always remember that we are abundant, and we are just, this life is a gift. Duality is a gift. And whatever is brought up in our interpersonal relationships is and always will be something that we may be expressing in that moment, or something that is lingering in the subconscious trauma of the mind, of the body, of the heart. And so the expression that we see through people who want to create bondage with us or like over us, we can say thank you and allow it to happen, because it will come and it will go and it will flow and it will be like the waters. And when we dip our toes in many different waters without swimming, or we could be swimming deeply in the vast ocean, just swimming without being still and allowing the stillness to take reverence, then we could be creating more chaos for ourselves without receiving the gift of transmutation, the gift of transformation that can be received in the allowance of things that need to be expressed. And it is inevitable when we are in relationships to be met with these parts of our subconscious mind that we suppress, because it needs allowance, it needs care, it needs compassion, and it needs acceptance, so we are able to create a new reality for ourselves. When we accept our flaws and our trauma and our baggage and our our darkness, then we can leave room for more light. And the darkness is here to teach us a lesson of love, really. And I feel like every time my heart breaks, I don't know about you, but every time my heart breaks, my heart is open even more. And it almost goes in these waves, like when a baby is being born, right? Like in relationships and anything that I do, it's almost like, and I feel like this is the case for all of us, because we are in duality. So when we tend to open our hearts, it's like a baby being born, coming out the womb, like in and out, the head coming in and then going out. And it's a really beautiful flow if we allow it to flow, and we are like patient with it, and if we remember the balance and just go with the flow as well, and be like, okay, I'm opening and then I'm closing and then I'm opening and I'm closing, and it's okay. And it's okay to have that flow, and it's okay. And maybe one day we will all get to the level where our heart is open and expansive to the point where we will ascend, and maybe that will happen when we pass. And maybe that will happen in another lifetime, or maybe that will happen when we remember that we're already dead and we're living still, and we break the illusion of death, and we break the illusion of bondage to death, and then we break the illusion of fear, of attachment, and we remember that life is fluid, that life is here, that life is present, that life is what is real. Life, breathe life into everything. And may we not give life to what is an illusion. And when I say that, it's like allowance of that illusion to express the way it needs to, so we can receive it with care and compassion, but not allowing it to penetrate your own perception of yourself. Your own perception of yourself is the same vibration of the Earth's love for you, of Creator's love for you. It is never going away. It is always living, and it is always present, and it is always there. And so even when people that we care about leave us too soon, or not even come into our realm at all, we could just allow that process to happen and remember that it is not personal. It is not personal, and it is personal for them to be able to do the internal work for themselves. It is personal for them to do their internal healing. But it is not our job to necessarily assist with that in the way that we need to understand it. We just allow it. And if it comes, it comes. And if it doesn't, it doesn't. If we need to create space for that person to speak, then we can do that in a gracious way, but without force, and with the water being our companion at all times. And with that, it's like, it's so beautiful, you know, because we can go through the worst trauma with someone, and they bring up all our inner demons and all our trauma from our past, and we could say thank you. We could say thank you for being the gatekeeper of my healing, and thank you for allowing me to express this with you, and don't take it personal, because I feel like when people leave situations that don't feel good because they're met with a mirror of their own mind that they don't want to look at, I feel like when this happens, it's because that other person wants to potentially fix the situation, and we all want to be fixers, and let me tell you, it fixes itself. It fixes itself through the allowance of it, through the understanding of it, through just loving it, loving the experience the way it needs to come, and loving the process, and loving the trauma. Because we came here to experience this, and we planned it before we came here. We planned our life, and we plan every person that we connect with. And maybe that connection is just in that moment, and it doesn't need to have longevity, but because that connection was in that moment, it created an imprint on the DNA, and in that case, it will fuel our spirit's growth forever. And maybe, and even if someone you love hurts you, or you go through abuse, or there's a lot of trauma within that is also an imprint on the DNA. But we need to not focus on this one person, because what fuels that one person that we interact with is so much bigger than that one person. It is Creator God, and it is just God in that sense. It is just God. Everyone we experience, everything that we experience is a reflection of God, and it's a beautiful thing. And so when we go through trauma with another person, we can say thank you for the gift of duality, because we came here to experience that, and it's not going to be all happy and rainbows. Like, we all know that. And so, but with that darkness, or, you know, that healing that needs to come, we could say thank you, and we could remember, like, we can allow ourselves to feel whatever we need to feel, but we can also say at the end of it, we've learned, and we value that time, and we value that heartbreak, and we value that time of being closed, because then the openness, when it feels so good, and we have to go through these different states of duality to be able to find the balance, and walk in the balanced way, and not assume. I feel like a lot of our trauma is based on assumption, and that is okay, because most assumptions are created from a place of not knowing what is real and what is truthful, and that is mostly because of the trauma that taken place in